Just a moment.
Well done, Platinum Games, you've done it again. Astral Chain is an action game about getting review bombed by dumbasses for being a Nintendo exclusive, even though you've made multiple Nintendo exclusives before. Really though, it's about two police officers who become part of a task force called Neuron, which specializes in dealing with beings from an alternate dimension called Chimeras. They've been attacking, corrupting, and or dragging humans into their dimension, and you need to stop them because humanity is already on the brink of extinction here in the far-off future of 70 years from now. However, a task force within Neuron is able to utilize trained chimeras, called Legion, to fend them off. Combat is easily the biggest draw of the game, as the Legion you earn allow you to not just access areas you couldn't otherwise, but utilize combo attacks between the officer and the Legion. It's awkward at first, getting used to knowing not just when to dodge, but when to follow up with counterattacks. It helps that the default controls are mapped in a way that makes sense. One side's trigger does things for the officer, and the other side's trigger does things with the Legion. I've never been particularly good at any Platinum games that are action-heavy, like Bayonetta, but by the time I got past the second case file, I had a good grasp on how to handle myself. Well, except for constantly falling off the world in the astral plane. You don't do this when moving slower, but if you're running, you'll fly right off the stage, and because I was focused on the enemies, I kept losing track of where I was. I took way more damage from this than from any chimera in the game. Astral Chain really encourages experimenting with what each Legion can do and the different weapons the officer has, which, as the game progresses, gives the player flexibility to approach encounters in different ways. These Legion can be upgraded by teaching them new abilities, or pumping up their offensive and defensive strength, or by equipping ability codes you find or earn to give them specific bonuses. As important as the Legion and the officer are the chain that binds them. It can hold enemies in place, or catch and launch enemies, stunning them for a little bit, and outside of combat it's important for crossing gaps and maneuvering around walls. Speaking of, outside of fighting chimeras you'll have to do, police work. Investigating cases, gathering clues, and being able to piece together what happened and where to look for the source of chimera appearances. It can be a bit abrupt. It's a major change of pace from being in combat, and you do get walled off from certain parts of the city. But in the context of the game and who your character is supposed to be, I didn't mind it. Besides, I was way better at these than combat, and it allowed me to score some higher rankings and bonuses on certain files. Also, you're supposed to be a model officer, so don't do things like stand in the middle of the road while cars are coming at you, or destroy property for no reason. There are lots of things to do outside of combat and investigations to earn more items, more money, and more gene codes to upgrade the Legion. For example, there's red matter everywhere, which gets left behind by chimeras. You can use a Legion to clean that crap up, or help cure humans that are redshifting, an illness caused by red matter exposure. It's even in the astral plane. I get cleaning this up in the real world because it can affect any humans that come in contact with it, but why bother cleaning up red matter in the astral plane? Isn't this like trying to pick up litter in a landfill? 9 times out of 10, exploration is rewarded, usually by finding extra supplies or extra materials used to sell for cash or upgrade your weapons or Legion. Side quests are available throughout Astral Chain, everything from catching pickpockets, to defusing bombs, to cheering up people as the police mascot. Have I mentioned this game isn't deadpan serious all the time? I got my first taste of that with the side quest where you keep bringing the toilet fairy different things to bless a toilet with. Extra paper, subway schedules, posters, dried leaves, and all the while there is still paper in the adjacent stalls. I think we're just fucking with this guy at this point.
Don't worry about me, Jen. I can wipe my own ass.
The story takes the form of a storytelling holy trinity of sorts. Daddy issues, espionage, and who's the real villain here? I can't really discuss what happens beyond the first couple case files without potentially spoiling something, but suffice to say there's rarely a dull moment. That's not to say the story is fantastic. It does what it needs to do. Or that it's delivered particularly well, as the English voices are extremely hit and miss. And no, I don't care that the protagonist is silent and don't know why people make a big deal out of it. I didn't care in the dozens of other games that have done this, and I certainly didn't care in Astral Chain. What is a bit weird is that whichever officer you don't play as does all the talking.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe you're deciding not just who you play as, but which one of them has to follow the rules of the Sewer King.
Lesson number 1 is no talking!
Besides, I was more taken aback by the music. I wasn't expecting to say this, but I was kind of impressed by Astral Chain's soundtrack. What's really impressive is that the lead composer, Satoshi Igarashi, was only a lead composer once prior to this game, and has only 5 games to his credit. My words won't do the music justice, so just take a listen. Don't be surprised if this game ends up on a Strumming the Bassline episode sometime soon. While it's a fast-paced action game for the most part, Astral Chain is by no means short. Well, it might be if you don't do any side quests, don't look for any items, don't talk to anyone, etc. But at over 12 hours in, I just hit the halfway point. The game has 11 chapters called Case Files, plus an extra 12th file in New Game Plus. You're almost guaranteed not to find everything the first time through because some sections require abilities or legion you won't have yet, but you can replay old case files at any point if you're a completionist. When I first saw this game, I was on the fence about it, but damn, Astral Chain won me over in a big way. The presentation and the action work harmoniously to present an experience I'm not likely to forget anytime soon. I know I said it once already, but well done, Platinum Games, you've done it again.